This man laughed at his own execution, and the reason why will haunt you. On November 16, 2022, inside Arizona's state prison in Florence, Murray Hooper was strapped to a gurney, facing the final minutes of his life. But instead of panicking or praying, he smiled and laughed.
He actually looked around and said, "What's taking so long?"
Hooper had been on death row for nearly 40 years. According to prosecutors, he and two other men forced their way into the home of Patrick Redmond, a businessman allegedly targeted in a murder-for-hire plot. What happened next was pure horror. Redmond, his wife Marilyn, and his mother-in-law Helen Phelps were bound at gunpoint. They were then forced to kneel before being shot in the head at close range, execution style. Patrick Redmond died instantly. Helen Phelps was left sprawled on the floor in a pool of blood. Marilyn Redmond somehow survived after the bullet went through her head and out the front of her jaw. Somehow, she crawled to a neighbor's house and raised the alarm. The intruders also cut Patrick's throat with a knife. Shell casings were scattered across the bedroom floor. The bed sheets were soaked in blood, and Marilyn's survival was described as nothing short of a miracle. She eventually identified Murray Hooper as one of the shooters. That, along with a few jailhouse informants and shaky witness statements, led to his conviction. But there was never any physical evidence. No DNA or fingerprints were found, and no murder weapon was ever tied to Hooper. Despite this, Hooper was sentenced to death based on word-of-mouth testimonies, many of which were later questioned for inconsistencies or signs of coercion. Hooper spent the next 4 decades trying to clear his name. His defense team begged for modern forensic testing on key evidence. However, the courts denied further examinations of key evidence, such as the tape used to blindfold the victims, hair samples, and the victims' clothing. To make matters more controversial, several journalists were banned from witnessing the execution. Reporters called it a blatant attempt to hide how the state carries out death, especially in a case this controversial. Despite growing concerns, Arizona moved ahead with the execution anyway. For his final meal, Hooper ordered KFC, mac and cheese, cheesecake, and ice cream. Then came the final twist, his strange, almost cheerful demeanor before dying.
His last words were, and I quote, "It's all been said, let it be done. To all my lawyers and loved ones, don't be sad for me, don't cry, don't say goodbye, say I'll see you later. Let's go."
Witnesses stated that Hooper even made jokes as the team struggled to find adequate veins to use to administer the lethal drugs. Hooper never confessed and never changed his story, and when the drugs entered his bloodstream, he was still smiling.
Hooper didn't seem scared at all, had humor at times, and was almost mocking the process, making faces when his death warrant was read.
We will never know what caused Hooper's bizarre behavior. Some believe it was the final act of an innocent man who'd already lost everything. Others think it was his last way to mock the system that had caught him for his brutal crimes.